Hello there, it's been a while since I did the meta breakdown, but figuring that I did very well recently, I want to share what are my favorite tribes and what are my favorite heroes in the current game, and what are my thoughts on some of them. I'll start with the tribe tier list, and I rate as the only F tier tribe in the entire game to be Naga. Why is Naga so bad? Well, ever since they lost Greta, I just don't think the tribe is that meaty. It's very weak in the early game, it's very weak in the late game. It has good mid game if you're playing Zesty Crooner, but even if you're playing Zesty Crooner and get like Golden Zesty Golden Crooner, you still might risk getting outscaled by somebody or getting scammed by somebody. What I like to play Naga minions is utility or early game powerful combos such as Lava Lurker and Reef Reefer is still a powerful combo. Shell Whistler is very good utility. And then Elemental is a very good combo piece, but funny enough, usually not playing Naga, but in other compositions. Next, we're going to Demons. Demons lost a little bit of power with all the recent changes. I feel like Felbat is too slow to play as a win condition in most situations. Usually playing one Demon with Chimera can be okay, but I wouldn't really go for a full Demon composition right now. Even if you manage to buff the shop, there's usually better things you can do. Can you still play Demons while buffing the shop? Yes. And in that case, Quillboar is going to be your best bet. But generally speaking, Demons are just okay. Next, we go to Murlocs. Murlocs got a little bit better with the latest patch. They're still not great ever since Primal Fiend has been moved to tier 5. But if you have a powerful economy game, usually involving a Chimera, again, Chimera is still one of the best cards in the game, by the way, spoilers. We're going to talk about Chimera and Menagerie afterwards, but it's still one of the main reasons that you want to go to 4 very quickly. If you manage to get to Tavern 5 and you're offered Bran, Primal Fiend, and maybe you pick up some Breams along the way, you could still play Murlocs. And then if you are Tavern 6 and you have like Murky Murkai with Bran, with like a full Murloc board, with Bream in your hand and Base Guild on the board, find some corals, you're going to win the lobby. So Murlocs are still good, but they still require a little bit too much to get going for them to be consistently the best tribe or one of the best tribes. But they can definitely win games. They struggle in the early and mid game. If you get to late game with Murlocs, you're good. Again, I'm rating tribes based on their average placement in an average lobby. I'm gonna say if they're good early game, mid game, or late game, and then don't come at me and go like, hey RD, I want a game with Murlocs. Like, yes, you can win with Murlocs, but if you try to play Murlocs every single lobby, you're not gonna win that much. But if you play them at the right time, they're good. Another tribe that is good played at the right time is Undead. Undead is the opposite of Murlocs. They have decent early, really good mid game, and terrible late game. But if you end the game really quickly, if you're trying to counter maybe some mechs or some dragons, and you manage to get Kel'Thuzad Morose, by the way, Morose is still the engine of Undead. So right now I would play Undead around Morose and KT. You can play around Summoner and KT, or you can play around Nightbane and KT. That's kind of like where it's at. And yeah, KT is also pretty much part of every single Undead combo. They buffed Sister and made her work in like other strategies as well. I don't really think that's like super big, especially not for Undead as an Undead tribe. But Undead are kind of okay. If you're having a bad early game and you discover Morose and you have like another Undead on the board, you can just like stay on Tavern 4, triple the Morose. Basically, Undead is really good because you can triple minions very effectively with the changes they made to the free drop that destroys an Undead and then gives you a copy of it to your hand. That card just makes it so that you're super fast in your combos. But yeah, Undead is okay, but I would put it in tier B still. Quillboar, I think, are the first tier A tribe. They used to be tier S, but they got kind of hit by the Poke change. And now some people are gonna go like,
wait, Poke was nerfed? I thought they gave it more stats.
Yes, they gave it more stats, but moving the effect from end of turn to start of turn is a huge nerf. First of all, it doesn't work with Rakari. And then it doesn't even work with end of turn effects such as Bannerboar or Charlie, that sometimes you could buff the gems and then play the buff gems. Now you have to like wait one extra turn and you cannot Rakari it. It's still a good card, sometimes, but now you kind of like struggle a little bit if you go for the Poke. It might still be the best way to play. I had best success with Quillboar playing Thorium and getting the 7-drop, and then using the 7-drop to buff my gems, and then playing the normal ways of playing the gems, like Charlie, Bannerboar, end of turn stuff, blah blah blah. So if you can buff your gems without Poke, that's actually like really good. Sometimes you're gonna get a game where you buff your gems with free drops, and then win because Quillboar are really powerful once you have buff gems, but it's harder than before for you to buff gems. I would actually say Quillboar are in a really good spot right now. They're good, they're not overpowered, they're not weak, they're interesting. And sometimes they can just steal games. It's just Pokey took a big hit. Dragons are also in a pretty good spot right now. I would put them tier 8 together with Quillboar. And I think dragons are still good. They moved the Divine Shield guy to 5. Other than that, not many changes. Nightbane untouched, Poet untouched, Former Drake untouched. So the free drop dragon got hit. So maybe you're gonna have a bit less games where you start dragons on free, and more games where you start dragons when you hit Poet. That's generally how I do it. In a dragon lobby, if there are no mechs, because again, mechs still counter you, as they did before, so I'll try to avoid dragons in a mech lobby, but if it's a no mech lobby, and I'm offered Poet on Tavern 4 relatively early, I'll consider playing dragons. Maybe I'll go for the Poet and then roll for other dragons. Maybe I won't, depending on my spot, but generally that's how you start playing dragons now, on Tavern 4 rather than on Tavern 3. Unless you get the Taragoza start on 3 that might make you want to play dragons. But yeah, without the Divine Shield guy and with the nerf on the other dragon, you want to start playing dragons a bit later, so you're going to play it a bit less times, but when you play them, they can still be good. Beasts got buffed. By the way, I want to mention one thing. Even though Beasts and Elementals got buffed, Lil Rag and Rat Pack are not in the game at the moment of me making this video. I think due to a bug, they might be released later. I'll also talk about how I think this is going to impact things. So, how is Rat Pack going to impact the most popular Beast archetype? It's not. Because the most powerful way to play Beast right now is with Trigor and the Iridescent Bird. And Rat Pack doesn't really fit in that composition. So the best way to play Beast right now is pretty decent, scales well, but I still think it gets outscaled by the best tribes in the game, which I'm going to get into later. But I will still think Beasts are good, like really good. A lot better than before. They jumped from the worst to like top 5 tribes. It's just that I wouldn't say Beasts are the best, and I tried to actually force Beasts today. I lost to Elementals. It made me feel like they're good, but they still have a little bit to get to the top. Now, with Rat Pack, Gold Ring Beasts are going to get better. So, maybe Rat Pack is going to be so good that Gold Ring Beasts are going to become the best tribe in the game. It's hard to say before we actually get to play with the card, because it's a huge card, and it's going to be like really good with the new way Gold Ring works. But until then, the way to play Beasts is self-damage with Trigor and Skybird. Pirates, I say, are also tier A. They're good. They got a bit better. They got some of their good minions buffs, such as the 2-drop. I think the best way to play Pirates is with Tethys and Greymane. But you can also play Pirates starting on Tavern 4 with Peggy and one of the following Pirates. Either another Peggy, John, the Cleave guy, or Chimera. So Peggy is very powerful, Tethys is very powerful. Other than early game pirate combos and the economy from Gambler, I would start playing pirates either with Peggy or with Tethys. Once you get one of those, you can go. Now, I keep talking about Menagerie. What is this Menagerie? What am I talking about? I'm talking about Chimera. Chimera got nerfed, but it's still one of the best cards in the game, and one of the main reasons that you want to be Tavern 4 as quickly as you can. What do I mean with as quickly as you can? Before I go into the best tribes in the game, I want to tell you why I think Menagerie is good, and why I think Chimera, and mainly some other Tavern 4 minions such as Peggy and maybe Long John, also dictate the way you should level right now. Right now, I think we're playing a meta game where you want to go either Tavern 3 on turn 3, or Tavern 3 on turn 4. And then if you're offered a bad shop, you want to just go to 4, take some damage, and hope you get Chimera and stabilize afterwards. Sometimes you don't really want to be later than 8 gold Tavern 4, just because you want to be one of the first people on Tavern 4 to get that early Chimera, to get that early Poet, to get that early Peggy, to get the strategies flowing. It always self-buffs, and then if you get 2 of them, they each self-buff and they each buff the other one. And then if you get like 2 or 3 more minions, you're buffing up to 10-10 per fight, per Chimera. And if you're already buffing good minions such as Cleaves, Divine Shields, whatever, they're really good. And then they are enablers. So you can buff them with Peggy, you can buff them with Bran and combos, they can help you discover with Primal Fin. It's just endless combinations, they can help you magnetize. You can sometimes start with Chimera, go to 5, discover a Beatboxer, and then you play Chimera Beatboxer. The possibilities are endless. You just need an early Chimera usually to make it happen. And sometimes you can go Chimera and then go Nala. I had plenty of games where I won with Nala or got second place with Nala. I think Menagerie is top right now, and you don't have to play Nala Menagerie. When you go Nala, you basically commit to keeping the Menagerie composition, but I think you can have a good time just playing Chimera normally, and then figuring out some other way to play the game. Like maybe you get the Greymane, maybe you get the Tetis, maybe you get the Beatboxer. Just one of the top minions. It used to also be Poki. You could go Chimera and then get Poki. Now I think it's a little bit too slow to do that. Rock is another follow-up to Chimera. And so on. Again, so many possibilities with Chimera on 4. I'm happy this card exists because it gives you like a way to play, and it gives you some comeback mechanic for going to Tavern 4 relatively early in the game, compared to somebody just like staying on the lower taverns, aka roaching. Roaching basically means strategically under-leveling, but let's not get into that. Let's talk about the best 2 tribes in the game. The best 2 tribes in the game are Elementals and Mechs. Let's start with Mechs, which I think are the second tribe. So Mechs got hit pretty hard. Scraper is kind of bad right now. You still buy it if you have nothing better to buy, and if you have a board slot. But mainly the way you play Mechs is around Beatboxer or around Zarina, in my opinion. So you either go Zarina, full board of Divine Shields, ideally Deflectobots, and then just spam spells, and ideally also have Lasomatic maybe for Reaper. Or, let's say you have a Chimera start or some sort of a start, you get to an early Tavern 5, discover a 6, you get Beatboxer, and you're in a spot where you can also play around Beatboxer. Because sometimes you get Beatboxer in like a Zap, and you should just pick Zap because it's more powerful, and it's not going to cost you in the next fight. So you should pick Beatboxer in spots where you don't really have a direction and you have some power that can compensate for the lack of direction and give you more time to play Mechs. That's generally how I look at it. And I still make my fair share of like wrong picks. Sometimes I'm desperate for a powerful card on paper, such as Beatboxer, and then I pick it and then I don't get any magnets and I die. So you have to be very careful when you pick it. You have to look at your board, look at what turn it is, look at how strong your opponents are, because that also matters. The turn doesn't matter as much as how strong your opponents are when picking your direction. So yeah, I think Mechs, even though they got nerfed, they're really good. Mostly because of Beatboxer and Deflectobot. And in games where you go infinite, Beatboxer is just too crazy, in my opinion. With Accorditron and all that. And again, Chimera being so good helps all these strategies a lot. Now, I think the best tribe in the game is now Elementals, because they got plenty of buffs, and they haven't even received Lil Rag yet. They took out Genie, but haven't given them Rag. Elementals are still, like, amazing. It's just, like, I think the game also slowed down a little bit, so you have time to go for that recycling Rock comp. You have time to go for the Chimera start into some 5-drop Elementals, like Shelemental, and then, like, get a lot of power, and then, like, go to 6, and then get the Rock from there manually. It's just, like, too many ways to play Elementals right now, and they're, like, so versatile. They're just kind of like a crazy tribe. When you have an economy hero with an economy start, they're just too good. And yeah, they haven't even got Little Rag yet. I mean, thinking more about it, it's very close between Elementals and Mechs, and you can have maybe more good games on Mechs right now. But I think once Little Rag is going to come back, it's not going to be close. Elementals are just going to be a lot better than Mechs, and they're going to decide the games most of the time. Now, what do I think are the best 5 heroes in the game? I'll tell you my favorite 5 heroes to play right now. They might not be the best, but they're my favorite 5, and I climbed quite a lot recently, so I'm pretty comfortable playing any of those heroes in any situations, in any lobby. Snake Eyes is my favorite hero, and I would almost always insta-pick her. I don't know, she just feels like a good hero. You get strong, and then you go a bit greedy, then you get strong, then a bit greedy. It's kind of like a nice balance. I like getting strong first. So for example, if I roll in such a way that I have 6 gold, very often I will double buy on turn 1 rather than level and 1 gold spell, because I want to be strong on 1 that allows me to be a bit greedier on 2, 3, so on and so forth. I also think Sire is very powerful right now, and I almost always insta-pick Sire as well. It's just a fun hero to play, and getting a quest can just like snowball your game if you know how to finish it quickly, and then slightly base your game plan around it. I also insta-pick Panda, unless I get Snake Eyes or Sire. Panda is just a nice hero in the current metagame. It can go very smoothly to the higher taverns. It can make you powerful. It can give you that tempo turn that you need. It's just a nice all-around hero with that X factor, with that high roll potential. Then if you want consistency, My last two heroes are gonna give you that. Rat King and Togwaggle complete my top 5 favorite heroes of the current metagame. Rat King because it curves out very efficiently while keeping you strong. Togwaggle because it has that spiky power play turns. Similarly to Snake Eyes, you go a little bit greedy, then you go for like your crazy power play, which allows you more time to go a bit greedy and level up. By greedy, I mean these heroes usually get to Tavern 4 early, so on 7 or 8 gold, and then they don't take 20 damage. That's what I mean with greedy. Most of my games I'm gonna try to go 3 on 3 or 3 on 4. And then, depending on how my shops look like, I'll either stay a bit more on 3 until 8 gold, or just go even 7 gold Tavern 4. I try to avoid going 4 on 4 because that's a little bit too YOLO. So, take from that what you want. And again, heroes that help me do that, heroes that help you with tempo turns or with greedy turns or with curving out, are going to be really good. So yeah, hope you enjoyed my meta game breakdown. If you want more like this, let me know. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you on Twitch every single day. Thank you for watching.